it's Nontokozo Madonsela here. I am super excited to be chatting to my sister Sarah on Because It's There. Tune in and hopefully you get stuff that can help you or be of interest to you. I cannot wait. Chat soon.
Because It's There with Saray Khumalo is proudly sponsored by Vuma.
So hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And thank you for tuning in once again on Because It's There, a podcast that looks at, who we are, the leadership within, and also says to us, in spite of what's going on, where we are at, what we believe of ourselves, we are leaders, we are extraordinary, and being ordinary is a choice, especially now during Women's Month. Who better to bring on board to give us insights about I am every woman than Nontokozo Madonsela. Nontokozo, welcome to Because It's There.
Hi. It's so lovely to be here, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for saying yes to our podcast. I'm so excited and looking forward to some insights from you, I beg your pardon. And to start the conversation, I would like to maybe put in a little bit of a sentence and you add in what you think should be there, starting with brand your day thus far via 3 key words. And why those words?
My day so far? In 3 words?
Absolutely.
Okay, so problem solving, meetings, lots of coffee. Those are the 3 words. Lots of coffee, meetings, problem solving. I start my day with coffee, and I have coffee regularly just to keep me energized. Problem solving. I've had lots and lots of, conversations with members of my team, and also problem solving with my son at home. We are planning a little bit of a getaway. So he's been asking, Mom, what about this and what about that? And then lots of meetings.
Yeah.
Comes with the job.
Exactly. And nowadays it's all virtual, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into your family values and who you are as Nontokozo. Much of the values instilled in us by parents and the environment that we grow up in follow us very well into the later years. What is the one priceless value from your upbringing that has followed you well into your older years and that guide you even today?
Yeah. Sure. So one of the things that guide me to today actually is the value of being authentic and staying true to myself. My mom and my dad were very, very, very authentic people. We grew up, like most people like you and me with, we grew up with very little. And for them, they just, stayed in their lane, focused on their goals, and remained on their track, which I'm grateful for, because without that focus and them being true to who they are, I don't think that, I would have been here talking to you today. As a mother of 2 myself now, I teach my kids to be authentic to who they are, and to remain true to what they're not clear on their purpose right now. But I get them to figure things out. Like if you want to pick up that instrument, then pick it up. If you don't want to be playing that instrument, then it's okay. But I try not to inject my own ideas into them.
That is interesting. Do those values, that you've picked up growing up and that you are speaking about today, have they become an extension of your current belief system, whether it's at work or at home, or did you have to get them evolved into something new that is, Nontokozo, who we know today?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. The one about being true to myself, listen, I'm divorced because of that. So...
Okay.
It hasn't changed. I think that, as you get older, I guess like as I've gotten older, I've become a lot more clearer about who I am and the purpose that I believe I'm here for and what I'm existing for. And I have protected that. I think it also shows up in other ways where, you know, I'm never about like what my neighbor is doing or what my friends are doing or what people on Instagram are doing. I just kind of stay focused and I know my truth in that way. Yeah. The one thing that, you know, I even asked my mom, I said to my mom, you know, if she was to meet the guy I'm going to be with in a relationship when that time happens, what advice would they give this guy? And she looked at me and thought I was being silly, but she said she would tell him to never tell me what to do, because I'm kind of that person. I want to be sure that I'm doing things because I want to do them, not because I'm told to do them.
That's interesting. Does this have anything to do with the reason you're such a champion for women and, affirming, femininity, which I'm going to get into? Anything from your childhood that's gotten you to where you are today and some of the things that you're championing?
Yeah. I think actually, you know, now that you're asking me that question, my mom has always been an independent person. Married, yes. A partner, absolutely. But in that marriage, she was an independent person. My dad passed on in 1995. Yes. And I remember her saying that, you know, in Black tradition and culture, there are all of these ceremonies and rituals that must be performed. And she said, you know, she looked at my dad's brother and my dad's family, my uncles and aunts, and said that, please can no one come and tell her that the mom saying my husband has appeared in any one of your dreams and he insists and sends a message through you, because I'm going to ask you, why would he know where I am and not appear in my dream?
She sounds like, a she that I would love to meet one day.
Yeah. So that kind of took care of all kinds of chaos that could have come, because she said, my dad's name is Hansford. Henceforth knows where I live at the time of his death and knows where to find me or my children. He will not come and appear in your dreams leaving me in this house. So if there's anything that is required that he needs from us, he will also come and tell me directly. So I think it's that thing of being confident in yourself, and having working or getting a chance to work on Momentum has been such a beautiful blessing for me, that I'm able to use the position that I have to say to women, you know, don't forget yourself, you know, be true to who you are and be confident on your journey, and celebrate your wins. I mean, that it's just been such a gift.
Absolutely. If you were to wear your hat as a brand and marketing specialist, towards conscientizing South Africans in knowledge, acknowledging and respecting femininity, what would your message be?
I mean, just to women, I would say that our femininity is our superpower. The world, even like more now, needs kindness, caring, determination, different ideas, innovativeness in thinking, collaborating, bringing people together. And those are qualities that women tend to have. And we must not wish to be in a different body or to have a different energy. I have never found my femininity to stand in the way at all. And I think if I am not myself, then I would not get the joy of being in the world if I was denying myself of like the blessings and just the form that I am in. And then I would say, I think, you know, that we don't need permission. We don't need permission from the guys, from the men, or, you know, from the system that's so patriarchal. I think we've got to be present and keep pushing through. And I love somebody, I can't remember who it was, who said, women don't need to be given a voice. They have a voice. They just need to speak up and be heard. Those who are speaking must ensure that they are heard. And I think that's what I would say. We've got a strong voice. We've got incredible ideas. And there is so much that is woman that the world needs right now. So let's give it to the world.
Absolutely. You have a voice, use it. Mm-hmm. When did you first realize that you were born to be a marketer or a brand advocate, which you're brilliant at, by the way?
I didn't know for most of my schooling years. I realized that I wanted to be a marketer in my second year of varsity. Okay. I initially thought that I would be a chartered accountant. Oh. I, in fact, got a bursary to study accounting through a CA accounting firm. Mm. And when I got to like getting into accounting, I realized that I didn't have the passion, I didn't have the understanding. Things, you know, got a lot more complex for me. And I just lost the connection to accounting. And I reached out to a mentor who was supporting us as a group of students who had bursaries at the University of Natal. And that lady said, you know, what do you think you want to do? And I said, well, I mean, I'm thinking maybe marketing. And she affirmed my choice and said, you are good for marketing, so go for it.
That's interesting. What do you think she saw in you?
I think she saw my creativity, because we're given several projects where we needed to come up with ideas, to sell the ideas, to present in front of the class. And I think she saw how well I did and how energized I was by those tasks. And then she said, absolutely, go for it. But it was already something in my mind, because when I came to her, she's like, what do you want to do? I didn't say, oh, you know, I don't know, maybe no. Like, actually, I think marketing. And she said, go for it. Yeah.
So some people are born to believe, you know, from their childhood, I want to be a doctor. Some people, you know, have a revelation after a while. And I want to find out the process of you getting to marketing is it. Yes, she said marketing. I don't know. Were you sure? You know, was this like a journey or a process, or was there any emotional connection to it? Did you spend a few years in the marketing field and like, this is it? Can you take us through that journey and the process?
So, you know, the one thing I want to tell you is, how did I know that accounting wasn't for me? Because I think knowing what's not for you is as important as knowing what is for you.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I have is that, I'm not sure if you can relate to this, is, you know, when if you know how to listen to your body. Yes. I don't know if I'm using the right, but when you just know inside of you that this thing, not for me. Yeah. You know, whether it is a party or an environment or a lipstick or a nail color when you're painting your nails, just that thing that says, I didn't choose right here. So I had that feeling when it came to accounting. And the other thing that also gave me clues around that, you know, deciding not to go for accounting was I observed how my peers were talking with passion about accounting, like with passion, like over lunch and walking from, you know, our residence to the lecture halls. And I was like, I don't have this passion. I'm not going to sleep excited about the next whatever chapter we are studying. It's not in me. And so that was the first thing. I knew it wasn't for me. And I was able to listen to what's going on inside of my body in that moment.
Yeah.
When it came to knowing, what gave me clues about marketing, I think it just, I was, like I said, there are things that just energize you. One of my preachers in the church a long time ago said to us as a church, you must, to think about your purpose, you must figure out what makes you cry, what gets you angry, and what gets you excited. Between those emotions, you will know, if this thing brings you tears and you really can't, you can't deal with it. Maybe your pain is that you must participate in solving it. That's why you are triggered in that way. So for me, I was excited and energized when it came to the tasks to do with marketing related content and business administration and all those other subjects, but except for accounting. Yeah. And then as I got to doing the work, I loved it. I loved selling. My first job was at the Standard Bank branch. I was sponsored by Standard Bank, and I worked at an inquiries counter. I was interacting with people every day. I just knew I loved interacting with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was smiling every day.
It doesn't seem like you work. I've seen you at work. I'm thinking, she's having fun. Is she being paid for this?
Thank you.
Anyway, Nontokozo, so when you climb a mountain like Everest, you've heard me talk about Sherpas who are guides on your journey to the summit. And we also have Sherpas in our lives as young kids, in corporate and so forth. I want to bring that to you as Nontokozo. Who has been the most important Sherpa in your life?
Yeah. Interesting you asked me this question because through the Metropolitan campaign, My People, My Everything, I had a reflection on who my people are, who have supported me and helped me to get to this point. So there are very, I've been so blessed to have encountered the people I encountered on my journey. Some of them are my teachers. Like there is a lady that taught me English in high school, through whom I got to be in public speaking, and debate class. And she was just so amazing in encouraging us and teaching us to use words in a way that is engaging and with confidence, etc. She has since passed on, and she's Mrs. Tongo. I remember when I wrote, and one of my best pieces of essays that I wrote had to do with the assassination of Chris Hani. And I dug deep, and I just, when you write and you're like, oh my God, I can write like this. And she was so complimentary about the quality of my essay. And the other person was my guidance teacher, who gave me a book with bursaries, companies that offer bursaries, because she could see that I had, I was talented in terms of my marks and everything, and she encouraged me to apply for a bursary. I wouldn't have had the quality of education I got had it not been for her support and encouragement and almost like insistence that I applied for a bursary, because sometimes you do need people to insist when you're a kid. Like, you've got to do this, you've got to, and you're like, oh, and you do it. But in late, as you get older, in your later years, like, actually, she did good. And then being a mom, I talk about how I observed the Mlisanes. You met Dr. Kolega Mlisana in my home the other day when we had dinner. She is such an incredible woman, and both she and her husband were, the way they were parenting and the way they raised their kids. We would, after church, go to their home for whether a lunch or a dinner or a prayer, and I would always observe how they were, talking to their kids, and they would never be screaming. Some of us are raised in environments where your aunt or uncle's like, yeah, stop doing that. Screams and shouting and rough language being used. But with them, the way they would correct their kids was just conversational. Like, hi, my baby, no, don't do that. Okay, no, don't do that. Oh, yes, we can go swim. And there was just like a calmness in their home that I enjoyed seeing and being exposed to. And I didn't know then if I would even have children, being 21, 20. But I thought if I was to be a parent, that is how I wanted to raise my kids. Yeah. And then now in my later years in my profession, I've got incredible mentors, just women who are successful, who are grounded, who are ambitious, who will always pick up the phone and check in on me, and who are always available if I want to bounce ideas off them. Yeah. I'm so blessed to be surrounded by the mentors I have. Yeah.
Well, that is fantastic. I like the fact that it's not one person.
Yeah.
You've got somebody for this part and that part, and that is beautiful. Absolutely love that. I want to take this time to give an opportunity to our sponsors to send a message.
In a world of possibilities, our choices define who we are. We can choose to simply get things done, but we choose to make a difference. We can choose to go far, or we can choose to go further. We choose great over good every time because we can. And because we can, we must. We don't just act. We activate. When we move forward. Instead of simply providing access, we see the potential for success. Because where others see data, we see dreams. To us, connecting means more than plugs and ports. We exist to empower ordinary people to do extraordinary things. We aim higher and we choose to do more. We don't wait for opportunities. We create them. Our choices define us, and when faced with the choice, we always choose extraordinary.
Okay. Now let's move on into contextualizing Nontokozo Madonsela, your world. As Group Chief Executive Marketing Officer for Momentum Metropolitan Holdings, you are heralded as the champion of purpose-driven marketing. I love that, purpose-driven marketing. Some of the campaigns you are spearheading, including Momentum's No Apology for My Success, which I love, by the way, and She Owns Her Success during Women's Month, which is now August. What's the focus of these campaigns, and where do they come from?
So all the work we do starts with us understanding the human truth or the insights about our target market. Momentum is a brand that enables success. We've had the focus on success for the last 3-4 years. And we started thinking 2 years ago, how do we show up for women in a way that is authentic, in a way that is positive, in a way that is affirming, but also in a way that is fitting what the brand stands for, enabling success. And so that then what we learned and realized as we were talking to our agency is that first truth is that success attracts more success. We know that, they say money attracts more money. Also, this is true. And so we said, okay, that's absolutely right. Now, what about women and them attracting success? And we realized that there is a confidence that is required when Nontokozo or Sarah is in the boardroom, and we are both bidding for Summits with Purpose to give us their R1 billion.
Yes.
See me manifesting that for you.
Absolutely. And I receive.
And then they're going to ask, the CEO of Summits with Purpose is going to ask, I'm going to give you my R1 billion. Whose other money are you handling? How many billions or millions have you got experience with? So the confidence for me and you to say, actually, we are handling, yes, a couple other billions and we are good for yours, is us owning our success. It is us being confident in the boardroom. So that's where the campaign came from, how we need as women to be confident in claiming our wins, because the more wins we have, the more wins we attract. But those wins, our CV doesn't speak for itself. You've got to, because then there are 100 other CVs, and in there, the CVs from our brothers are also there. And our brothers definitely know how to brag. I mean, I'm raising my boys now. My two sons, 15, one is 15, and Buhle, you just saw, is 9. My 15-year-old celebrates near wins in sports. I do this all the time. He's always like, Mom, you know what? Like, if the guys had taken that ball from me when I made that pass, they would have scored. But Mom, I was good with the passes. I mean, and then
doesn't matter that it wasn't a goal.
No, Mom, I was there passing. I was there. So, but we as women are like, I scored 1 goal. I wish I could score more. And we don't give ourselves, we need to recognize our own journey and not wait for perfection. And I think that's where this is coming from.
Yeah, that is absolutely lovely. And look, I buy into the campaign. I relate to it. It's authentic. And I like the fact that it actually allows people to tell their stories, and it still links to it, because it's different for different people. And I've met women from different backgrounds, but generally the uniformity in the conversation is that we are all playing down successes because we are afraid to be seen as show-offs, as braggy, but not realizing the consequences of not celebrating those wins and not encouraging each other to do so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and just think about what it takes when one goes for an interview. Yeah. If you go for an interview for a job, it doesn't matter what job it is, you must brag. The structure of the interview requires you to talk about what makes you fit for the job.
Absolutely.
Just there. Forget the bigger things. And if you're going to be a public speaker, which you are, and you are pitching to organizations to invite you to speak, they want to know, send us your bio. What makes you good at public speaking, and where have you been speaking? Yeah. That is you bragging about your success. And I often say there's a dark side and good side to humility.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when the dark side of humility is when you undersell yourself, when you don't even try to speak about your successes, because you will get overlooked.
True.
And your trajectory in your career or your business or your life will be compromised.
Absolutely. So talking about these campaigns in terms of success for women, what would success look like when you look back a few years from now, whether it's for Momentum or in terms of the conversation, the women conversation that you would like to see? Like, what would success look like in your eyes?
Oh, I hope we're starting a huge movement. I hope we are starting a movement that will not end in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, because we started this 3 years ago and we haven't even begun. Our numbers, it was a closed event. We would have 100 people, in the session, or 200 people. And now we are opening it up, and we're hoping that we'll kind of get to the 2,000s or the 3,000s. So my hope is that we start a movement. My hope is that people are conscious, and women are conscious about saying what their achievements are. And I think, the other success would be when we are the ones who are championing people and saying, well done, brilliant, I heard you did that, and come and tell us how you did that, so that more people can enjoy and have the success that you are having. For me, the success is simply to see women own their progress and their success.
I love it. And that's actually absolutely it. Hashtag she owns her success. Anyway, being in the position of Group Marketing Officer for Momentum Multiplier, what kind of operational climate do you find yourself in, especially as a Black female leader of many?
Yeah. So, our company is evolved in some ways. So it's great that there are people like you and me who are occupying senior positions within the Momentum Metropolitan Group. It's great that when I look at the people around me, they are diverse. I'm a champion of diversity and inclusivity. I think that is fantastic. I do think that in the diversity and inclusivity journey, though, in our organization, we've still got a long way to go. There are people, who are rooted in the history of, being an Afrikaans organization. So we've got to meet each other halfway. I've got to either learn Afrikaans, or they've got to learn to speak less Afrikaans, whichever way we can solve the problem. But I'm encouraged by the changes that we are seeing. I think our leaders are very clear and committed to shifting the culture, and we've started to see that. Or do I know enough? Do I have enough experience? Do I understand all the technical bits of insurance? What could I be missing? And slowly, 4 years later, I'm starting to shed that off a little bit. And I mean, our boardrooms are starting to be diverse. In Exco, there's 3 women, Zureda, myself, and Jeanette. And as women, we support each other, we back each other up, and we are very much championing initiatives that enable women in our organization and celebrate women in our organization. And then lastly, I think to see the young people that are coming up, that join our teams on a regular basis in different departments, everybody's excited because they are seeing this new energy in the group, the fresh brands and the engaging messages and the social impact work that we are doing has really been instrumental in telling South Africa that we've got a new vibe going on.
Absolutely. There's definitely a new vibe at Momentum since you joined. I can attest to that. So looking at your resume, phrases like turned around, repositioned, and initiated show up, every now and again, almost like a superheroine wearing a cape to save the day. What would you say has been the thrill or campaigns that were once dead in the water in your career?
So, you were asking about when I knew I wanted to do marketing. One of the things that I talked about recently at the Nedbank IMC conference was leading with purpose, and how for one to lead with purpose, they must be clear on their own purpose first. My purpose is to transform. My purpose is to be a catalyst for growth and total transformation. And I think when I was, reflecting on that, I found a few people I've worked with who are friends. And my question to them was, how have I manifested in your space? What are your observations about the work I do? And what the feedback they gave me and what I thought I'm here for literally just matched. So yes, I start, I initiate, I fix, I transform, whether it is marketing capability or what the brand's narratives are about or culture in the organization. I love that. I love the thrill and the challenge of, like I call it, problem solving. For me, marketing is a problem solving discipline. Yeah. We happen to do advertising, and even those ads, as fun as they are intended to solve a problem.
Yeah.
And that's really the thing. I call it untangling the spaghetti and putting order.
I love that. But what one can't underestimate is not all marketers can do that, and make it as simple as you've made it. I can promise you, I've been in Momentum for the past 6 years. Before I joined, which I think probably some people out there would probably believe that, it was white, male, Africans, and also, as far as marketing, it's cricket, it's golf. So it was far removed. But now, like some of my friends in my circle that I would never have heard speak about Momentum are like, oh, she owns her success. Oh, wow, have you seen what Momentum is doing? And it's all due to the work that you have done. So I don't want to underplay that. I want us to reflect on that and to appreciate you in this moment for the work that you have done. You've been able to change the narrative, change the conversation, and I want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
For that.
Okay. You were once quoted as saying, I actually laughed when I saw some of these, my advice to PR industry around embracing innovation, do bold work, because every campaign is competing with Netflix and social media content. As a marketer, what are your thoughts around the idea that brands are out to monopolize maximum attention of the masses so that so as to only yield eyeballs, clicks, and screen time?
Okay, sure. What a complex question. So
let's break it down.
Yes, I'm going to break it down. Here is the real deal. Like I'm often amazed at marketing creative that assumes that, Nontokozo will shut everything else around her and focus on this thing that comes from the summit with purpose.
Yes.
Hey, everything else, my kids, the screen, everything just freezes, and 100% of my attention is going to be on this. That doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. As we speak, I've got 3 screens around me. So, and my baby, and what's going on in the garden, and. So the point there is that we've got to do work that is strong enough, compelling enough to engage. Otherwise, we are wasting money.
True.
And that's what we want. And that engagement will differ from campaign to campaign. Right now, liking a post is not even enough anymore, because, if I asked you what you liked on Instagram at 9:00 this morning and what are you going to do about it, you won't remember. It's like you're browsing through the magazine. And you're like, oh, that's a cute hat. Oh, that's a nice car. Oh, that's a lovely, and you move on. By the time it gets to the evening, you've flipped however many magazines, you've seen the thousands of images, whether Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter and TikTok, in terms of video content, and you've forgotten about it. So we're in the business of making sure that we are memorable. We're in the business of making sure that we kind of get, like, we do stuff that triggers an action or triggers change. And that is constantly something that we have to pursue as marketers.
Yeah, that is interesting. I guess that's the evolution of marketing from yesterday, way of doing things to what we need today and in the future. How has your marketing approach or your approach to marketing and brand presence changed with COVID-19 and everything that's going on around us? Anything that you can share?
Yeah. So in terms of the approach to marketing, nothing has really, really changed. The one thing is just how the team is a lot more connected. We are a lot more agile. I am accessible as a leader because, the distance that we have in terms of not being in the same office, it works for others and doesn't work for everybody. So that's really it. And we've been the most creative during this time. And what has also helped us is that we have a culture that we've been connected before we were disconnected. In other organizations or other teams, we're never connected before the disconnection. So, and they are suffering 100 times more. In my team, and because of just the way that, we've the culture that we've kind of built in the last 3 years has been that of deep connection. So the distance is not so much of a disruption.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So my last question, describe your best challenge or failure. Some people, I actually don't like the word failure. So describe your best challenge and how it propelled you forward.
My best challenge, sure. Talk about where I am now.
Wow, let's talk about that.
Taking on Momentum Metropolitan, MMI then, number one, the organization was not even in my radar. And I remember when I was recruited by Linda and Zoraida, they were like, come join us. I was like, but I've just done What's Your Next at Standard Bank. Why would I come join you here? And what do you guys do anyway? And Zoraida was like, what would need to happen to convince you to move? I said, oh, I love untangling and organizing chaos. I love fixing things. That was literally my expression. I said, I love untangling stuff. And then both Linda and Zoraida said, well, we need to be untangled. We've got just the chaos. So I thought, okay. And, things happened and I ended up signing. But I never realized the extent of the tangle that I would have to untangle when I got to the organization. I was like, oh Lord, well, I asked for it. It is here now, so it's really been, and I haven't failed at it. I believe I've succeeded, actually. Yeah. And I remember talking to the one guy who mentors some of the execs in the organization who has history with the momentum side of the business. And we're talking about, transitioning between the previous leadership team to the current leadership team and all of the, operating model changes in the group. And he said, a lot of leaders in the group right now are just still orientating themselves and trying to figure out this new thing and this new change. And he said he's amazed at how focused marketing has been and how we've been able to push through despite the chaos in terms of the restructures and everything else. Mm-hmm. And I think that's been because we were very clear on our strategic approach. We were very clear on our milestones. We brought the leaders on the journey along the way. We had several, workshops and collaborative sessions. So by the time the rest of the organization was resetting and clear on resets, we've been resetting to grow in the group. So we've just been a few steps ahead, and it's been great. I think the one thing that's been slightly challenging, I said to our CEO Healy, is that in the organization, a lot of people have been working in our organization for years. So in a way, they feel like they own the organization. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. I am Momentum. I am Metropolitan. Why are you changing things?
Why are you untangling things?
Why are you untangling? This is me. Me is this, and this is me. So I had to kind of figure out, a way to win those people over, hear their concerns, be able to separate Nontokozo is so passionate because she's been here for 15 years and this brand has been looking like this for so long. So I've got to appreciate that, but figure out within that,
because it's there with Saray Khumalo as proudly sponsored by Vuma.
Bridge the gap so that slowly we can kind of get the change going. But what was fantastic to have is data and research, because numbers never lie. And I always say best marketing decisions are not made in the boardroom; they are made out in the streets. Yes. The information outside.
Yes, absolutely. And you can see people are finding the brand a lot more relatable that traditionally didn't, and that's a testament to your leadership. And I just want to take this moment to appreciate you and celebrate you and thank you for allowing me to own my success. Thank you so much for your time. Any last words before we close down and say goodbye to our listeners who have just picked up so much gems from this conversation?
Oh, thank you for having me, Sarah. And I want to say, like we've shown between you and me, that as women, we've got to champion each other. We've got to support each other. That is not new. It's been said, but it's beautiful to see it in action and see it happen. Yeah. And our CVs don't speak for us. We've got to speak for ourselves. We've got to give your CV a voice, and always be aware that humility is a good thing, but there is a dark side to it.
Yes. Absolutely. That was Nontokozo Madonsela, the Chief Marketing Officer of Momentum Metropolitan, with so much wisdom beyond her years, I must add. And this is because it's there.